about Ruler is he hasn't played a competitive game of Jhin, even though that has been the third pick after the Sivir and Ashe utterances, so crazy stuff to consider there. But let's get to the bans. Been a lot of bans towards Ambition and jungle bans in general in recent series with these two teams. Jungle bans continue with the Hecarim and the Nidalee. Worth noting that both these junglers have heavily prioritized Rek'Sai. So we could see Rek'Sai over-prioritized compared to other two teams just because both junglers, 13, 15 games respectively of the Rek'Sai, and every other pick falls way behind it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in just the game with MVP, the bans coming out against the Rek'Sai will be on the table for Samsung as it is Ambition's
Has to be Gragas
most played,
here.
but with Gragas available, yeah, they will go ahead and lock this one up. This, of course, would be a flex pick for Afreeca Freecs if it did make it over to their side. We saw Ixu has played Gragas top twice in recent history. Didn't have too much success on it, though, against Longzhu. But it will be Ashe locked in here for Songyun, which means we could just see the Sivir come out for Ruler, and Tahm Kench going to be taken away as well.
That's a really important draft pick for Afreeca to take the Tahm Kench in the first rotation. Tank top, so it fits Ixu's champion pool, and it's also the flex pick nature, so emulating the Rox Tigers that will do this whenever they're presented with the opportunity. Saw Ambition flashing the Mordekaiser, of course. Jungle Mordekaiser, now a thing. Thanks, Inori, for that one. Afreeca Freecs always the first team to pick up on these edge meta junglers, so I know I was talking about it to you in the taxi over.
Yeah.
There's definitely a world where Mordekaiser sees some play, but clearly not this game because we have some very fast locks on the side of Afreeca.
Yeah, we do. That's going to be the Trundle coming in. Could be for Wraith, and then the Echo taken away, so likely this is going to be the Tahm Kench in the bottom lane for Snowflower as a support, and then Echo for Ixu up top. That's a bit of a takeaway from Helper in the two games that we've seen from him. He played Echo in game 1 and netted himself an MVP nomination for it, so bit of a takeaway there for Afreeca Freecs. And now we see the hover over the Maokai, a pick that hasn't really come out in quite some time.
Echo versus Maokai. Suddenly it's week 1 of the season again,
Classic.
Achilles.
We are going back to spring, boys.
I mean, of course, could still be the Trundle top. They don't have to go for the Maokai. I was wondering where the Maokai was at, and I guess the answer is this particular series. They're bringing it back. Samsung going for a really old-school team comp. Damage threat here. It's all about Sivir in the late game. Victor also.
Man, crown on Victor. What a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the champion that he's piloted for most of the season. Definitely by far his most impressive. 10-3 win rate on the Victor, but there's a lot of picks here open for Mickey. We haven't mentioned it, but Twisted Fate, one of his favorite picks, is available. Played this in their one win in their last series last weekend. The Lyssandra's been another pick that Mickey especially has found a good win rate on. So he's 6-1 on Vlad. The Vlad was banned away here. 3-1 is his next best performing champion is the Lysandra. And Ashe Lysandra, really powerful initiation. Double globals, double teleport can be run in this particular situation. And the first round, we can return to it. A flex pick Trundle, so a flex pick Tahm Kench, and you also take Ashe, and the champion that best counters Ashe compositionally in the Tahm Kench. So in a lot of ways, really like what Afreeca did at the start of the draft, and now we end up with a really clean draft from both sides. I just feel like Afreeca's is a bit more flexible, given that Victor's going to be anchored to the mid lane, and they have really good double teleport options on the side of Afreeca.
We're just going to have to see how Helper does, because again, limited sample size from him. Not sure what his real potential is in that top lane. Has the Maokai, it's going to be very reliable, point-and-click CC on a fairly immobile AD carry such as Ashe, so if he can get ahead in lane and get on top of Songyun, he'll be able to, control that Ashe the entire time, and Samsung can just steamroll over the rest of Afreeca Freecs.
I mean, it's a matchup that we saw all through spring. Maokai versus Echo. Echo will have the lane pressure. Echo will be able to chase down if there is the famous lane swaps that, of course, may be a thing of the past when we move on to 6:15. But Maokai has the massive advantage in teleport pressure. Now, teleport's different. Extra second on that channel. Need to be a bit smarter with your warding to actually get those teleport flanks. But regardless, Maokai is the true engaged tank. And it's been a long time since we've seen him as a common pick in LCK.
Yeah, so we'll see how his return is going to do. Because Echo, as his return, it's been pretty impactful. I mean, we've seen some really good Echoes. We've seen some pretty bad ones. Had a pretty rough performance from Lorlo earlier today in NALCS. We'll see if Ixu can have a bit of a stronger one here as he goes up against this Maokai, and we'll see what Helper's true potential really is for Samsung, and if he's going to be kept on the roster as they get ready to move through playoffs in that fourth place spot currently. Let's go ahead. Let's get right into game. Samsung versus Afreeca Freecs. right, Ocean Drake will be starting us off here. We'll see when exactly that objective's going to come into play, and if we're going to get standard lanes.
Not expecting to. We saw almost purely lane swaps last week, which is atypical for the LCK. But for now, both bot lanes meet each other as Sivir is able to get the ward down and spot Sungyun and Snowflower at the bottom side of the map. Nothing too exciting in the keystones for this game. Echo further of battle just to wail away on the Maokai.
Getting pretty standard so far, so no real shockers going to be coming through. Cleanse, of course, worth noting, going to be on Crown in mid, so we'll be at a teleport discrepancy for Samsung. So Mickey will be able to arrive into those fights. Already has really fast roam with the Glacial Path, so going to be even faster with TP.
A more common thing to see sweepers at level 1. We often see sweepers taken by top laners, doing a quick check, then just backing and going for the warding totem, but I see spotting out a ward is Crown.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean he's going to have a little bit less vision at 3-4 minutes, though, when the first round of ganks come through.
Yeah, I was going to say, a little bit late on that sweep, so not going to be able to go back. Snowflower's going to walk in, finds Wraith. It's going to take a little bit of damage. Boomerang goes through. Nicely done there by Samsung. Afreeca actually saw that entry, so that was a little confusing why Snowflower decided to walk back in. But overall, he'll be all right. Has the Relic Shield. Use the Tongue Lash to proc that, so he'll be able to stay at a safe distance.
And one of the amusing things there is because Crown invaded and spotted out that ward, seeing that defensive vision on the top side meant that the lane swap was definitely happening for Afreeca, and it allows Samsung to get 2v2 lanes, albeit in the top side. But that extra bit of information, that's why they knew to invade onto the Krugs, because they knew they were going to start topside. That's where they had defensive vision. That's the only safe place that Afreeca could have started. They would have denied a camp in that case, but all they end up doing is getting a bit of damage onto Snowflower.
Yeah, which we can see is not going to be of much consequence. Already back to full HP. So we'll be all right, and we'll just get to see how this matchup's going to play out with Ruler versus Songyun. Meanwhile, down here, Ixut is going to be shoving forward. Helper going to be very slightly behind in CS, but nothing too punishing. Should be able to catch back up. Opted in for the Doran's Ring instead of the Corrupting Potion. So not going to have as much sustain. Going to be really reliant on that Sap Magic passive to really keep himself healthy.
The build path isn't going to be necessarily clear for Helper. Back in the day, it was a lot of Catalyst into situational. Righteous Glory is not the same item it once was, but still can be useful on the Maokai. It's only now they're going to be the selfish speed up. So the only champions we really see picking up Righteous Glory are the jungle Olafs of the world. That's not Sin in the LCK.
Yeah, he's been picking up pace all over the place. I mean, we saw it earlier. TSM versus Energy. Santorin had played it and did really well, albeit it was in a draft that involved the Teemo in the top lane. So there was some leniency there for Energy to be able to get ahead.
I mean, Olaf is the Reignover effect. That's the guy who really was playing a lot of Olaf, whether it was last year or this year, and teams picked up that it can be a viable pick, but just never caught on in Korea as a jungle pick.
Yeah, haven't seen the Olaf, haven't seen the Jax stop, which is...
Alawi?
Yeah, Alawi is another one, but Jax especially has been pretty prominent in North America specifically. I know Quas plays the hell out of that one.
I mean, even Aurelia. We saw, what, a week of Aurelia? You could say maybe 2 weeks of Aurelia, and then no Aurelia picks whatsoever ever since the latest nerf came through, which wasn't a heavy-handed nerf. It was increased cooldown on the ultimate, but certainly not the end of the world. But these top lane carries are just seen as too much of a risk. I think SKT were the best acid test of this. The top lane changes came through, they were running the Fiora, they were running the carries, and then they just had a lot of problems trying to set up for Duke. The late game split pushes weren't working, and then they returned to Trundle. And a lot of teams, Smeb included on the Rocks Tigers, much more likely to be playing the Trundles and Shens of the world than these carries, and Jax's Sin is the more risky version of Aurelia.
Yeah. Someday, didn't get a chance to play Jax that days. He wanted to, but the team just would not let him.
He just stacks damage items on Echo. He's doing fine.
At least he got to play as Renekton, so that was good at least. We did get to see that one go back.
I just love that he plays damage Echo and there's no ability power to be found. Mercurial Scimitar Trinity Force. What a wonderful world of Echo builds.
I mean, gets stuff done. Makes it work. It really hurts that backline AD carry.
just amusing thing. It's like kind of like a screw you to the balance team who was like, no more base values, gonna have more AP ratios. And he's like, I'm gonna build AD, I guess. Screw that.
I mean, we've seen Mercurial Scimitar and a couple different people. We saw it on Maokai back in spring because you'd get the QSS to get rid of the Subjugate from Trundle, and then once you hit a certain point, you're like, I have all of this gold, screw it, I'll buy a Mercurial Scimitar. I'll just hit a little bit harder.
Sadly, screw it, Mercurial Scimitars are a thing of the past after the latest change. We're just seeing a lot less QSSs, of course, with the inability to QSS things like the Grand Challenge and Trundle Ultimate.
But with Lysandra coming back into the meta,
Sure.
it kind of does balance that out a little bit.
I mean, that's the thing,
It's
is that
fairly necessary. Oh, Wraith, really far forward, gonna get slowed up, flashes away, will he go down? One last hit there. Lyra coming in with a Prey Seeker will finalize the first blood for Afreeca Freecs. Nicely done. Have to probably get a replay to see how this one turned out, because Wraith was really far in there.
Yeah, we missed the start of that engage, so hard to say why Wraith was so overextended. His Trundle actually won him an MVP in Samsung's last series, and then for some reason screwed up the laning phase there. Was going to mention that Cleanse does double duty here. Good against Lysandra, good against the Ashe when Victor walks up to wave clear, so a necessary cleanse. We've seen so many Karma and Victor mids take teleport and then get mercilessly ganked by things like the Ashe arrow. That good for Crown to have that flexibility, but we come back to the double teleport, which will give a Freak option.
Oh boy, Ixu's really far forward. Ambition is pinching down.
Has the ultimate.
Level 6. See if he can land it. Goes in with a flash body slam, knocks him back. He's going to snap back. Doesn't go very far, though. Will flash away and try to run up the river. Might be able to make it out alive. Barrel will clip him for the slow. Ambition hot on his heels, has the body slam. Parallel convergence coming through. Is it enough to keep him alive? Double stun coming through. Helper flying dangerously low, and Ixu will be able to zip his way out to safety. Nicely done by him, keeping himself alive.
That was actually a really nicely coordinated gank, though, by Ambition. What I want you to notice is that he went for the body slam flash instead of just leading with the ultimate, because there could have just been a counter ult from Ixu, would have snapped back and not been displaced by that ult, but he's coming back into lane at Helper.
Helper sticking around with no HP. He's going to dash forward, but just a matter of time. That's going to be a kill coming through for Ixu now.
So greedy. He didn't even have vision. There's a pink ward in the brush that's been set up, defensive wards for Ixu, but Helper looked great 2 days ago, but that was just a rookie mistake from Helper, who hasn't played many games. Mickey goes in mid.
The benefit of that on that one. Crown actually gets the fadeaway death ray on Mickey.
Wow.
Nicely done. Manages to get out alive. Has to blow the flash and the cleanse, of course, but going to be happy about that trade back, and that does give a kill on the board for Samsung.
That was actually mechanically impressive to cleanse, flash, and hit a line skill shot with Vector casting. That is, all right, well, Crown, we knew his Victor was good, but that is in 3 seconds.
I play this champion a lot.
Oh, he does.
Give me some leeway on that one, but yeah, wow.
That is definitely a swag walk after you pull that one off.
That was really good. I mean, even if he had died, it still would have been like, damn, that was really good to get an answering kill. But the fact that he lives in the end and Snowflower's just like, oh.
Well, the intro is all about showing off swag, and Crown's doing it this game.
Well, so far so good. Gonna have a little bit of a dip ahead. This is gonna be working on the Hex core. Going to be catching up in CS, but blue buff over to Crown's going to be pretty nice for him. Can spam out those death rays. He'll be able to catch this wave and maintain a very slight lead over top of the Lysandra. See just about 300 gold, that kill coming in, really helping him out.
It was really big of Samsung to call the lane swap. Because they were able to do that, even though they were opting into the Maokai versus Echo lane, which isn't ideal, they're able to delay the point when outer turrets are down in top and bot, and they can really snowball with their double teleport. They definitely want to Afreeca set up here with Mickey in one lane at the bottom side, Ixu on the top side, and then Ashe wave clearing in mid, because then you can go for the deep teleport plays that Rox Tigers made famous in the spring season. But the longer that these outer turrets stay up, the happier Samsung are, because the late game fantasy of 3-4 item Victor and Sivir is real for Samsung, and they have the truest tank you could ask for. Maokai back in the meta, at least in this game, will be able to deal with Ashe in a pretty great sense in team fights, and also negate the AoE damage from Mickey. So because they've delayed the game, or at least slowed down the pace of the game with standard lanes, take note, future patches, going to slow down the game with keeping these laning phases going. Afreeca really want to find a way to leverage these teleports.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, you see, scaling into the late game for Sivir and for the Victor, but also the tanky front line of Samsung outside of Maokai, the Gragas there, the Trundle as well. It's going to make it really difficult for Afreeca Freecs to get through that, because Tom Kench, it's about a you know, he's pretty tanky. It's kind of pseudo. Comes down to when you can use the shield properly to mitigate as much damage as possible. But, you know, the Rek'Sai also not going to be a true tank, especially with that rush on the Tiamat coming through from Lyra. So Afreeca Freecs not going to have nearly as much tankiness to them. But then again, doesn't necessarily mean that much. We've seen MVP completely smash teams by running nothing but aggressive composition, so it could go either way.
I agree, but the game that Afreeca wins is, wait, first Ambition's going to visit top.
Yeah, coming back in here for Ixu. Doesn't have the ultimate available. There's another parallel convergence. He will get the double stun, but is it enough to get him out to safety? Oh, it knocks him away with the catch. Nice phase dive there from Ixu to get himself on the other side, and he'll stay alive yet again.
Ixu's been slippery. Only has the Spectre's Cowl, but is going to be building into the Sheen. It was Iceborne Gauntlet from Helper when he was playing Echo 2 days ago, but much more common to see Trinity Force Echo for that increased lane pressure. Helper with a pretty greedy back, but this time he was in a brush, so yeah, we'll give him a break.
Was a little bit risky there. He'll be able to make it out alive. Likely going to have to... Actually, no, he's going to hold the teleport. He'll lose that wave that's currently at the tower. But wants to have that Summoner spell available for a big play, possibly around that bottom side. Of course, Freecs did just net the first Dragon a couple minutes ago, so Ocean Drake goes over to them. Mountain will be the next one to follow. And that's when things are going to get really interesting and spicy, as Samsung, they're not going to want to give that one over for free.
I mean, Afreeca are just about increasing the pace of this game wherever possible. They weren't able to get the lane swap. We might actually see the next back of Afreeca just starting a lane swap by going top. They'll give up some CS, but if they can first take the next Drake, then just swap top and start the turrets coming down, they want to keep increasing the pace. Afreeca need to pick up the Drakes. They need to control the Baron. They need to use the pick comp they have with specifically the Lissandra and Ashe in the mid game, because mid game fighting before QSSs come online, sure, you can win 5v5s against Samsung. But the moment we hit 25, 30 minutes, 2-3 items on the Sivir and Victor, and a QSS for the Sivir, that's when, if Afreeca don't have a big lead or an obvious win condition like an inhibitor down or Baron buff, I just don't see them winning the 5v5.
Yeah. Still good on them to get that first Dragon. Afreeca having the worst Dragon control.
They just haven't prioritized it as an objective, to be honest. They've been much more focused about picking up turrets and setting up freezes for their carries. For some teams, that makes a lot of sense. KT had a stat like that, where basically the early game was get Someday ahead as much as possible, and whatever with the objectives, we don't care, just because Someday will carry. But Afreeca have Ixu, who has really struggled for champion pool. Worth noting that with Echo back in the meta, that's one more pick that Ixu is practice on, but as long as he stays away from the Poppy, I guess that'll be fine.
Yeah, I've tried one game on the Poppy, didn't go so well.
Not convinced
Still
at all.
Needs a little bit more work before that one's going to come back into the meta in a strong way. We'll see. Still just has the Spectre's Cowl and that Sheen, the Ruby Crystal alluding towards a Phage, so might just see the Trinity Force completed for him. Lyra and Mickey coming around this bottom lane looking for a dive onto Ruler and Rain, who's now walking back, spots him out. It's going to be Ash Arrow coming through. Ruler will flash away, but here comes Mickey, has a Frozen Tomb. They throw it down. He's got no way to get out, and he will fall. A third kill picked up for Afreeca Freecs on the bottom side of the map.
Exactly what Afreeca needed to do. Right on cue, they go for the aggressive turret dive. I mean, Ruler did his best. He first used the spell shield, then he flashed the arrow, but there was Lissandra to pick up the kill. Nice roam. It's through pink wards as well, as Afreeca have had the run of that bot side jungle, as Ambition has been tending towards the top side. They take the turret. Really nice play from Afreeca as they try again to increase the pace of this game.
Yep, now Helper going to be juking it out with Ixu. He's very much winning out in these trades. Parallel conversions won't connect, but it's going to be a rough spot here for the Maokai. Having to split the build as well, has the chain vest in with that Spectre's Cowl.
Lyra might be caught here.
Well, he's pretty far forward. Crown's coming around the side. Throws out the Death Ray, so Lyra knows that he's spotted. Here comes Ambition, gets the Drunken Rage in with the slow off the cast. Wraith, then he used that Subjugate, and Lyra now really squishy. The Chaos Storm will come through, and that's going to be a second kill picked up for Crown.
Yeah, just too aggressive, didn't have the vision to do so. His top laner was actually recalling as well, so that was just a one-man suicide mission from Lyra. Tried to counter-flash the barrel, but no such luck from Ambition. And Afreeca just hand over a bit of tempo back to Samsung.
Yeah. Having those two kills, the only two that Samsung's been able to pick up for themselves onto Crown, is going to be a nice little boon for Samsung as a whole. You can see having the needlessly large rod coming in. Devourer will hit from Snowflower. Going to spin him out into Song.
Arrow in a second.
Helper going to try to jump back, still has a flash, burns it out now with eventual Maelstrom to keep himself alive, but a lot expelled there. for. Helper now Ruler really far forward in the bottom lane, nowhere to go. He's going to get taken out as Ixu picks up the killing blow. And Wraith just not close enough to try to save his life, but Ruler just up past where he doesn't have a turret. Really greedy play from him, and now Afreeca on the other side. They're going to be able to get this top tier 1 as well.
You got to say, Achilles, that's first Helper earlier in the game, and now Ruler showing some pretty rookie positioning mistakes. We'd seen it from Ruler before. Teleport coming in from Helper, but with that 4.5-second channel time, we're still pre-20 minutes, no home guards. You may be Maokai, but no way to close the distance.
Oh, and Wraith just sitting in the brush next to Raptors on top of a deep ward from Afreeca. Mickey comes in, drops the Frozen Tomb, and that's another one here for Afreeca, who are looking much more convincing than they have in their past 2 series.
Yeah, I asked for them to increase the pace, and that's 3 kills, 2 turrets, and it's going to be most likely a second Drake over to Afreeca.
Yep.
These are all such avoidable mistakes from Samsung, though. They've been playing pretty haphazardly. It's not a must-win series for Samsung, but if they lose, they are basically condemning themselves to play this exact same team in a week's time. Yeah,
and if this is any indication of how that's going to go, it's not going to be good for them. I mean, they got gated out of playoffs by Afreeca Freecs last split. Could be very well that they get taken out in the wild card by Afreeca Freecs.
And the worry also would be, especially in this game 1, Ambition's best performing jungler recently has been that Gragas. Crown, enough said, he's been synonymous with the Victor this season. Ruler has been playing almost exclusively Sivir, especially recently, and Wraith just won an MVP on Trundle, so this would be them losing with perhaps the strongest 5 they could field, short of the Maokai in top lane.
Yeah. And Helper hasn't been able to do a whole lot. Still keeping up in CS, has only died that one time, but now losing the tower. The pressure is on. And Afreeca have been running away with this game. It's going to be a 3,600 gold lead for them just 17 minutes in.
I'll cut short on some of the superlatives just because we've seen series like this before with SKT involved, where Faker will be the only one with the gold. The mid-game team comp will do mid-game things, but then Faker will bring it back late game, and Crown has all the gold on his best champion.
Sure.
And we've already said compositionally, Samsung will hit high gear in about 15 minutes time. So it's on Afreeca to keep growing this lead. If they can take a Baron pre-25 minutes, if they can pick up 2 more Drakes, they'll be in a great spot. So good job so far, Afreeca, but it's only pass marks. It's not an A+ just yet.
Yeah. Well, they're making some moves. That'll be helping them out quite a bit. Mountain Drake going to be confirmed by them. Ocean will be our 3rd. So now 2 dragons in tow for Afreeca Freecs. Still looking pretty good. You mentioned Crown needing to be the one to really help turn things around. As he has all of the gold funneled into him, opted in for the Rylai's completion first before going for any more Hex Core upgrades. So really wants to be able to lock people in for these mid-game team fights.
Speaking of locking people in, it's on Afreeca to try rotating around the mid lane. It's not easy. Crown has both his summoners, including Cleanse Up, but if they can harass out, kill Crown, take his mid lane turret, then we're going to be talking about 3 outer turrets to 0, and then Baron becomes a very realistic objective for them. So next piece of the puzzle, finding a way to take out the last 30% of the hit points of this mid lane turret.
See, Runeance Hurricane completed for Songyun, looking for the Essence Reaver next, I could guess. A little bit ambiguous because the Cloak of Agility and the VF Sword could go into the Infinity Edge, but Essence Reaver seems to be the more desired second item. You know, Ruler just now completing his first. So a bit of a lead coming through there for Songyun, really being helped out by that 25 CS lead that he's able to accrue for himself. Now Rift Herald going over to Afreeca Freecs, and they're just going to keep stacking up the objectives.
The item timings not pretty reading for Samsung. Helper's probably going to go back and finish his first item, as Ixu's had that Trinity Force for about 4 or 5 minutes. Double items completed from Mickey. It's actually Rod of Age's second, so that's going to hit peak power around 29 minutes. I'm not a big fan just because I feel like the comp kind of falls away around the same time this item is going to stack. But wants a bit more health, I guess, to not be burst down by a couple of ricochets, maybe even in the backline of a fight.
I mean, I was expecting, you know, potentially the Zonias to be the second item coming through, but once more, just innate durability rather than the active durability coming through on the Lissandra, it would seem.
I think he just needs more damage, Achilles. They have a really strong front line.
Yeah. They're trying to get this blue buff. Ambition's there. It's not able to take it away.
Lyra gets it.
Yeah, Lyra has to smite it out. So not going to be going over to Mickey as you would hope, but still a takeaway is a takeaway.
And now it's finding a way to brute force down this mid lane turret. Someone's going to have to answer the split push from Echo. I guess it has to be Helper. He's the only one with teleport.
Well, Afreeca grouping up. Going to Gonna be looking for a pick. Haven't fired off that Ashe arrow yet. Try to find somebody there. Gonna go really aggressive. Takes away the Raptors.
Afreeca have so much flexibility. Double teleport and a Rek'Sai has so much global presence, so they can really split their forces pretty meagerly and still be grouped as 5 very quickly.
Still sticking around in that mid lane, though. Haven't sent anybody up to the top, where right now Ruler is just shoving up the turret. Afreeca will be able to pressure in, take out a tier 2, however, so still being very proactive, find themselves another tower, 3-0 in that regard over top of Samsung. And that's going to bring the lead to over 5,000 gold.
Can't get that mid lane turret, but they can basically get every other one on the Rift. We're going to see Lissandra roam top and pick up CS. Been disciplined from Afreeca so far, and I guess undisciplined is the only thing you can say about Samsung, given that it was individual mistakes from the likes of Helper and Ruler just dying overextended in a way that we haven't seen commonly. We've seen shades of that in previous series, but having them both happen at the same time in a team comp that really wants to scale is awkward for Samsung.
Yeah, this is looking like Samsung very much from game 1 versus MVP.
Sure.
Very scattered, not cohesive. It seems like, you know, everybody was not on the same page.
I mean, do you remember Samsung in the second half of game 3 against MVP, where they had a massive lead, did their best to throw it fight after fight?
I do remember that. Game 2 was good, though.
That's true.
They had game 2. But now Afreeca looking like they might be able to finally break this tower in mid. Just a couple more hits will do it, but the wave gets cleared out there by Crown. So it will be standing for a little bit longer. Xu moving forward onto Ambition, gets a little bit of damage in. We'll take that body slam. And the boomerang will chunk him down very slightly, but he's still going to be perfectly safe. Has that ultimate available should things go awry. But looks like Afreeca just going to try to poke in where they can, maybe knock down that tower, and then get prep for that next dragon that'll be spawning in a minute 40.
But if we continue to see those situations where Afreeca look for aggressive moves and someone like Ambition is there to quell that threat, or if we just see, in this case, Echo and Ashe push minion waves at the top and bot and have Samsung pick up the CS, if Samsung is just basically trading CS and not losing objectives, that's massive for them, because we've already mentioned it. They're looking to scale up. They're looking to pick up CS. So it's still on Afreeca to really blow this game open. They've done what they needed to do. It's just, can they finally find an ability to take an advantage that Samsung just can't weather the storm about?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen plenty of teams on the bottom half of the standings that have those same issues, Longzhu being one of them. Maybe not as of late, but they're a team with wonderful early game statistics, you know, big gold leads at 15 minutes, but then somehow not having many wins, so they're just one of those squads that can't finish out the games. And we'll see if Afreeca Freecs can do just that, or if they're going to struggle a bit.
They need to take Baron. That's what they really want to threaten.
I think he's really trying to threaten Ruler right now. Spell Shield comes through, though, so he'll mitigate a lot of the damage and be able to hold onto the tower and keep clearing out those minion waves.
Crucially, Xu doesn't have much armor, so Baron will do a lot of damage if they turn onto it.
Oh, Ashe arrow comes out. Crown actually going to flash right into that one. Will it be enough to help lock him down? Xu coming in on the backside. They jump on top of the Ziggurar. He gets popped up from the Unfurrow, and he will fall. Lyra finding the kill now. Ambition having to flash away. Meanwhile, Wraith will exit back into the mid lane. Afreeca coming up with a nice pick on the Victor, but can they find an objective on the backside of this mid tier 1 is looking like the most desirable option. They're going to push in for it.
They get both summoners, the kill, and now the mid lane outer turret. 3 turrets to 0. Samsung.
That'll be 4.
Yeah, you're right, it is the 4 because they got the bot lane one. They're looking for a 5th as well.
They might be able to do this. Helper just not really in a position to go in and try to lock down Songi. They'll throw out the pillar to try to push them off a little bit. Wave is gone. Snowflower is going to be tanking up. They'll be able to confirm it. So 1 kill comes through, and Afreeca Freecs, they pick up 2 objectives for it.
Samsung's early setup, forcing the 2v2 with the use of the sweeping lens to guarantee that it'll be 2v2 top. All they wanted to do was to delay this inevitability, but this is the worst case scenario for Samsung. They don't even have turret trades. A lot of this 8,000 gold lead is the 5 turrets that have gone down, and it doesn't even include the double ocean and single mountain drake. In so many different ways, Samsung is in a massive hole, and the late game may never come, Achilles.
Yeah, it's very possible to be double ocean, double mountain, as that'll be the next one coming up at around the 30-minute mark. And there's a world where Afreeca Freecs get 5 dragons and then potentially an Elder and Crown. Oh, boy.
And you know what? He actually cleanse flashed. Yeah. So he actually fat-fingered the cleanse, so didn't even have that up. So wasn't able to open up distance. That's why he dies in the middle of AoE. That should never have happened. So let's run down the list. Helper, Ambition, Crown, and Ruler have all solo died this game unnecessarily. Helper over extended lane. Ruler over extended lane. Actually, sorry, that was Lyra, not Ambition, that was counter-jungling. So that was a jungler, but wasn't on the side of Samsung, but Crown. So 3 out of 5 have made pretty uncharacteristic mechanical and decision-making mistakes, and that's gone a long way to allowing Afreeca to set the tone of this game.
You're such a rollist. You just think that all of these players look the same. Like, all junglers look the same. Lyra, Ambition, whatever.
I mean, I'm just used to Ambition overextending and dying, I guess.
No, it's a fair point. Helper now going to be getting jumped on. Mickey comes in with a Frozen Tomb, and that is one dead tree. The last hit'll happen there. Mickey will come up with the kill. Zhonya's completed for him as well, so he is going to be nice and safe moving forward from this point on. And that is 8,000 gold in the lead for Afreeca Freecs.
This is definitely the game where Crown's like, what happened this game, guys? I was doing so well. I've got 3 items, including upgraded boots as well, but the rest of his team are so emaciated. Sunfire Cape and a Spectre's Cowl on the Maokai compared to Trinity Force, Spirit Visage, and most of our randoms you have to think, because Echo hasn't shopped in a while. Only Crown is anywhere competitive in item build against his opponent.
Yeah. And even then, still in a bit of a rough spot as Afreeca Freecs going to start up this Baron here at the 26-minute mark. TP coming in from Ixu. Gonna try to cut off Samsung. Ruler uses on the hunt. Ixu diving straight onto his face. Works him down to about half HP, and that will be Baron going over to Afreeca Freecs. Can they chase in for more kills? Looks like they're going to be happy to go ahead and heal back, spend this well-earned gold.
Well, Afreeca, they can't beat the teams at the bottom of the pile, Achilles, but good thing for them if they make playoffs is there's none of those lower teams in playoffs, so they found a team they can beat, and it turns out to be Samsung.
Yeah, and again, like if this does happen to be the first match in playoffs in the wildcard game next Monday, Afreeca are looking very good to take that series away. Granted, would be different, be a best of 5 as opposed to a best of 3, so more opportunities for Samsung to adapt. And if they do lose this set, there's still potentially 2 more games that could happen. They do have a week to prepare.
Now, the moment you apply Occam's Razor to the LCK this season, you know the results can go exactly the opposite way, and Afreeca were doing that before it was cool with their playoff choking last season, so there's no guarantees about the next time these 2 teams meet if it is Monday's first wildcard game.
There's a lot of playoff choking last split.
Oh, there was.
Unless you're SK Telecom, then there was no playoff choking. Maybe for a game, but everything else was fine.
One day another team will win LCK. I dream of the day.
Well, you never know. It could very well be August 20th.
Well, Ixu's not really worried about Samsung.
Yeah, he's going to snap back, uses the phase dive, try to get out of there, but on the hunt's up, the pillar down. Ixu, don't think you're going to be getting out of this one, buddy. He's still trying to make it work, actually has the move speed. Will he be able to jet his way out? No. He does get caught up, and he will fall in the end. Ruler finds that, just the 3rd kill for Samsung. But meanwhile, Afreeca Freecs, they take the tier 2 on top. They're looking for the inhibitor tower as well, but Chaos Storm comes out. Mickey taken low, as is Songyun. They will have to exit. Lyra's on the flank just to cover them, and they should be able to walk out of this one all hunky-dory. SoFlower going to flash just in case. Gets over the wall, but overall, Samsung not going to be able to find a catch.
Yeah, also Abyssal Voyage used to get Snowflower out, so no extra deaths. It was a mistake by Mickey. He actually walked into the middle of the Victor W and got Black Hole into the center of it, and then took extra damage and would have died, so he had to get out. Thus, everyone from Afreeca had to get out. They don't break the base on top, but we already saw Ixu take down the inhibitor turret and bot, so plenty of strategic options for them in just a couple of minutes' time.
Yep. Well, right now, Afreeca Freecs fans can be resting easy in their minds, at least for game 1, as they are pretty comfortably ahead by 10.2k, so.
I mean, a 10,000 gold is nothing comfortable. It's massive, as Ambition's very tanky, though.
Yep, Mickey just trying to get on top of him, throws out one last ice shard, but it's not going to connect. Ambition will be safe, but had to burn out the flash, so no flash body slam is going to be coming through from him for quite some time. And Afreeca are still just keeping all of the waves for it, applying pressure onto the base of Samsung, and just waiting for that next Mountain Drake to spawn in 45 seconds.
And this is exactly how you play out these Lissandra double teleport comps. They also had Echo with lane pressure, so Mickey found himself in a position with lane pressure against the Victor, and Ixu garnered a huge lead over Helper, and Samsung have just not had the resource to actually power farm their way to 3 or 4 item status. We only just saw Ruler finish his 2nd item Infinity Edge compared to 3 items and then some from Songyun, so it's just a stark contrast in item builds. It's really stopped Samsung from having a true chance in this game.
Had a bit of a 1-3-1 there for a second inside of Afreeca, but now Lyra just going to move in, take away that blue buff yet again from Ambition, and Ixu pushing into the bottom side, getting some damage in onto that inhib, but Wraith and Helper are there. Ruler in mid. They could just collapse onto him again with On the Hunt, make quick work of him. Meanwhile, Songyun says, you know what? I'll just take this by myself. Don't worry, guys.
Yep. Not under any threat. He has a Vamp Scepter, so that means he is greater than a Drake. Kind of depressing being a Drake, but...
Yep. I mean, one of the most powerful mystical creatures in history, and just have a Vampiric Scepter you're put.
Walk up to the Drake, say, just give me 20 minutes, I'll be back. And suddenly, a female archer just explodes that Drake.
Yeah, he didn't last very long. But now, double ocean, double mountain, so all of the siege damage they could want as well as the sustain that they could need. Afreeca are pretty much just poised to close out this game.
Yeah, it will require a catastrophic set of mistakes, not even just one, to give Samsung a window back into the game.
Looking at you, Mickey.
You're right. If anyone can do it, it's Mickey.
Just, I'm going to Glacial Path into all 5 of them.
And not Cleanse. Sorry, not Ultimate or Zhonya's, which was actually a Crown trick 2 days ago. Learning from the best.
Yeah, Crown's Lissandra was not very clean.
Samsung did their best to not win against MVP. Did pick it up, though. And Afreeca might be the gleeful recipients of finally that last playoff spot. Still early days. They haven't iced out this game, but with 10,000 gold lead, seems a foregone conclusion.
It's been a rough, wild ride through LCK summer so far. I mean, I remember when Samsung was looking like the #1 team in LCK.
When they were playing teams that weren't very good. And also Rocks Tigers when they were horribly out of form.
Yeah. It's been a lot of back and forth.
It's been a season of knowing when to play against teams, you know? Like, that's just kind of been the way, is that it's like, this is the time when SKT's weak. Every team has had a weak phase. Rocks at the start of the season, SK Telecom in the middle of the season, and Afreeca against teams that are minimum 3 spots below them.
Ixu's still trying to hound down that inhibitor, but Samsung, of course, going to be holding on to that one for dear life. They weren't able to break that top tower, so it will be regenerating a little bit of HP. Mickey going to stick around for the split push up top.
It is pretty shocking that they actually haven't found a way to take an inhibitor. They have such an item lead, but nothing's really changed in the past 5 minutes or so. And even though the gold lead is 3,000 in the bot lane, that's the big stark discrepancy, is there's this extra item on the side of Songyun compared to Ruler. Already outlined it, Crown, very competitive with Mickey in overall gold. And perhaps Afreeca are just going to focus on the next Baron, but they make a mistake around Baron. Perhaps the window for Samsung will open.
We'll see. They just got that second mountain break, so you go back to the siege that they had a couple minutes ago. If they had had that mountain, probably would have led to maybe not an inhibitor going down, but certainly that top tower. But now, Baron spawned. Afreeca definitely going to want to get this. Ixu is already roaming down. Bot has the teleport available, so he'll be able to join the team. In the meantime, just going to try to create some pressure, drag away Helper. There's a very real possibility where Ixu interrupts Helper's teleport up to that Dragon Pit now that it's 4.5 seconds.
You're right. That's about as optimistic as you could ever be about Echo interrupting a teleport, but with a 2.5 second arm, he is able to do so. Not much ways for Helper to interrupt Ixu taking this inhibitor, though.
That's very true. Looks like he's going to be able to work this one down. Has a parallel convergence to buy himself a little bit more time, but with that Trinity Force, it's just inevitability. So inhibitor line will be broken here at 34.5 minutes for Afreeca Freecs. He'll create some nice pressure for them as the rest of the team just dances around the Baron pit.
Usually Afreeca would have to be threatening the Baron in a scenario like that, but they knew there was no way for Ixu to fall, so they're going to get a free inhibitor without even opening up and answering initiation for Samsung around the Baron. So no risk, high reward play from Afreeca. That's not usually their thing. They're usually a high risk, medium reward team.
Very true. Looking a bit like Jin Air.
No. Jin Air was low risk, low reward.
It's the low risk part, I meant. Playing like Jin Air, the low risk aspect of things.
Yeah, cleanly so far, at least. And that's the thing, is that if you watch the last 2 series, how could you expect this Afreeca to show up against Samsung?
I didn't.
It's a complete non sequitur.
I mean, granted, Samsung didn't really look that good on Saturday either, but they certainly looked better than Afreeca Freecs had looked in their last 2 sets. Ambition going to get caught out, taking a bit of damage. Gravity Field will come down, and they'll segregate the teams for the time being. Afreeca still just pinching around Baron. They're going to start this one up, and it is getting shredded out. Songyun doing so much damage. Ambition looking for a way in. Needs that crucial steal. He's still pretty healthy. Teleport coming through. It's going to be confirmed by Lyra. Ambition on the exit. Snowflower going low, as is Ixu. Has Guardian Angel available, but now Mickey goes into the back line, getting locked down. Has to use the Frozen Tomb down onto himself. Lyra taking up in the front. Gets locked in by the Gravity Field. The first person to fall will be Ruler, followed by Ambition.
Watch Crown.
It's going to be a 2-for-1 so far. Songyun going low, gets devoured in by Snowflower, barely keeping him alive. And Wraith, the last member of Samsung, will kite around the back of the pit. Looks like they're going to let him go because they can just start moving down this mid lane. They have plenty of time to work with. TP coming through from Ixu. He's going to keep the minions alive. Abyssal Voyage as well from Snowflower and Mickey. And they will be going on to the next towers. They're going to take them out, and that will be game 1, going over to Afreeca Freecs.
And look, they win the team fight by just a sliver of kills, and this is the clearest example of a solid game plan in early game overcoming a team comp deficiency, because Samsung were inches away from winning a team fight, 14,000 gold behind against Baron buff. It was so close. Crown could have potentially got more kills, but his front line went down. Ruler was eventually trivialized, but that's how much of a lead Afreeca needed to overcome the team fighting comp from Samsung in the late game.
Well, it's a bit worrisome for Afreeca. I mean, they looked very clean in that match, but now they have to do it again in game 2 if they want to walk away with a 2-0, because otherwise Samsung, very real possibility where they adapt to this playstyle, they come back in, and they find success. We saw it against MVP, and MVP is a team that we could argue has been on a level playing field compared to Afreeca Freecs.
An adaptation, I don't think, is even what's necessary. It's just get rid of the mistakes. It was all about the unforced errors, all about Helper and Ruler dying unnecessarily. Yeah. Crown also, the Cleanse Flash, accepted from that crowd, was excellent this game. Again, almost took down a team fight, 14,000 gold behind with Crown's play. So near yet so far from Samsung, but very fixable mistakes. These are the sort of mistakes that talking with your coach and settling down between sets, you could actually make the adaptations and just come out better in game 2.
Now, what about the Maokai pick? Do you think that that's something that they go back to? Because no. Helper, he never got to become impactful. And it really, do you just keep Helper in, or do you try to swap Cuvée out for game 2?
I don't know about that. I think Cuvée does have a couple of carry champions, but the big issue was that Ixu actually had lane pressure. We don't see it very often. He's usually forced to go into his small champion pool, the likes of the Poppy, and kind of fight from behind. But he took the Echo, a return to a pick that's come back into the meta that he's played well before and had lane pressure, and that helped Afreeca so much with Lissandra having teleport and options. Mickey always has lane pressure, so good stuff from Afreeca, but Samsung, fixable mistakes for game 2.
Well, we'll see if Echo can get that, or Ixu can get that Echo back in game 2. We're going to go to a quick break. When we return, we will have game 2, and we'll see if Afreeca Freecs can close this out, or if Samsung are going to be able to answer and make this a series. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few.